Let's get warmed up.
Ha
Ah! 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 We have to cough
Cough
out
it.
the cobwebs and garbage that's been lurking within us this entire time.
And there's a lot is amassed. We've amassed a lot of garbage, a lot of psychic refuse and detritus.
Absolutely. And guys, we're back. This is Cinematic Suffering. Welcome back. I think we're back better than ever.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of shit coming up. We have you can do watch alongs with us for as we riff these movies. That it's available to on Patreon. We've got the video version of the podcast here that you can watch, but you can also listen to it on all your favorite podcasting outlets. Let's say. And what else we got? We have a Twitter, we have the Cinematic Suffering Instagram, so we have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we're
Uh,
not venturing into OnlyFans, and you're welcome. But yeah, we're gonna invade all other media. You're gonna love it.
Oh, the Discord channel. We do have a Discord channel, so make
Yes,
sure you
yes, we
join the
do.
Discord channel.
And
Um,
maybe somebody in the Discord can, give your boy a tutorial on how to use Discord because I'm fumbling through it like a boomer with dementia.
it's not the most user friendly sometimes for those old folks like us, but we manage it somehow.
Yes, that's right. So we, as Jason mentioned, he's Jason. I'm Clay, and we're Cinematic Suffering. We had a podcast before that was audio only, where we reviewed movies in alphabetical order. We're changing the format a little bit to make it less painful for all of us, but suffering's in the title, so
Yeah.
it's kind
Well,
of obligatory.
so before, it was audio only, and we were doing like Clay said, from A to Z. We're on Netflix, and we're just watching every horror movie that they had from A to Z, or what they labeled as horror. Um, and yeah, by the 14th time we got through it, we were in rough shape. Where all of us were. I mean, we had brought on our good friend Morgan for those last couple episodes too.
That was fun.
Yeah, and that was really fun, and he got to suffer along with us because I know Morgan wasn't really used to watching these kind of films. So,
Yeah.
but we're coming back. We have, like I said, a little bit different format, and I think we're starting off this time with somewhat of a. We're kind of easing into it, where it's a bad one, but it's not a long one.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're going to be bad, be short.
Yeah, and also what made this a lot better is that Clay and I actually watched this together so we could riff on it. And again, that's all recorded. We have that stuff, so hopefully you can watch and follow along if you want, and see how we can
Imagine
torture.
we'll have links in the page to the Patreon once we get this posted. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so let's jump into it. Goblin that came out in 2020. Clay.
That's right. Goblin. Goblin features the stellar acting of, well, first of all, let's go into the writer. This was scribed by Rosa Parnake, and it was directed by Chris Lee. And this is going to shock you, but I couldn't find any other credits for them aside
Oh
from
no,
Goblin. So they're kind of enigmatic.
that's
It
a surprise
stars,
because there's a lot of nuance and character
yeah.
uh, motivations that we saw through here that only a professional writer could obviously accomplish.
Precisely. These folks are true auteurs, and at the just starting off at the top of their game. As are the cast. You can't have a great film without a great cast. Starring Ashley Ray, Joe Cummings, Houston Towe, Weston Banning, and that's all I wrote down. So I guess
I
those
think
were
that's
the
all
only
that
actors.
I think that's all that needed to be said about the movie, actually. So let's shut
Well,
it down
also,
here. It's been a short podcast,
yeah.
and
So it was good talking to
yeah,
y'all.
good talking to y'all. And well, until next week. No, obviously, we got stuff to say. I think we have stuff to say. I
We'll
like to
try to
start.
keep it short.
I like to start it off with. I wrote to you over Messenger, especially where. This is a short movie. I'm not even sure if it would be called a movie in the movie lexicon because it was only an hour and 11 minutes, and 3 or 5 of those minutes were credits, oddly enough.
Yeah,
And
which we both enjoyed because we could play what's that song? As a heavy metal lovers, it's like, I know I recognize that one from somewhere.
oh, that's right. It ended with a song from a pretty famous, somewhat famous stoner's doom band.
Dope Lord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dope Lord. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we were, like, actually enjoying the credits, so it was pretty nice. But I think I think starting off with this movie, it just couldn't find a tone to it. You know, I messaged you about it, and it's got so much going on when it comes to it's talking about abuse, domestic abuse, it's talking about, potential PTSD from a guy who was in the army or
Yeah.
some kind of military outfit, and then you have the opening, which is just these 2 people overacting their asses off, talking about their lost dog Poochie or whatever it is.
Snoopsy, right?
Snoopsy, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and then from there, it went into this weird, goofy realm, and then down into really some dark, areas of human psyche, you know? And I'm not talking about the writing is any good, it's just the way people were just especially the antagonists, I guess, the father and the son
Yeah.
are just pure jerks, you know? And I know that's probably what they wanted to go for, but anyways, and then it goes up in this goofy, weird territory again
Yeah.
and keeps going up and down. So I was perplexed, and I've got examples I wanted to point out, but what's
Oh,
your
definitely,
impression?
definitely. It was a very weird movie. Like you say, it didn't know what kind of tone it wanted to capture. I got the feeling, and I've watched an interview with the guy that played Danny Jr., which what that Weston Band.
Really?
Yeah, there's y'all should check it out. There's after you watch our podcast, obviously, but there's a great interview with very really good if you seek that out. It's he did an interview with him, and according to Weston, the filmmakers were didn't do this ironically, and but that one's kind of hard to qualify because it dips into some weird areas. It's one of those strange movies that you just have to wonder, like, what was your intention?
Yeah,
You can't
yeah,
tell if it's accidental comedy, purposeful comedy. It's a movie without a plot, which is a kind of a
yeah.
strange a creative choice. It's almost like deconstructing music or something. It was
Yeah, and you bring up a good point is like, is this accidental comedy or is this intentional comedy? Because there are points when I was just laughing out loud. Yeah, because I don't know if anyone knows this, but I would had to go back and rewatch the thing because some editing I had to do. So I had to I could see some different parts that I kind of missed when we were riffing on it a little bit on the first time. So it was just like, how does this even wind up in the movie? Just is this intentional or is this what the director wanted from his actors?
it's weird, like 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 focusing on the script. I couldn't tell. It was almost like the Goblin was shoehorned in at the end. It was almost like they wrote a domestic abuse script,
Yeah.
uh, and the actors all, well, we'll get to that, but it, it was almost like the director said to her, like, Rosa, this is called Goblin, we need to have a goblin in here, and she's like, I don't know, there's a goblin, and then he eats characters throughout the runtime, and that's how we kind of get write them out of the story. It was the goblin was not really important in his own movie.
No, and I like you said, it was like it may have been just shoehorned in. Like I it, what I think he was. I think when we talk, what was the old man's name? The old and white
Elias.
Elias. When we run
Yeah.
into Elias, and he goes over, you know, what the goblin is. You get the exposition of what the goblin is. I think he kind of alludes to the goblin causing this chaos within the family or wherever he's at, like some kind of supernatural chaos by him just being there. And you know, I just wasn't. Yeah, it
The
wasn't.
backstory didn't land for me
Yeah,
with the, it's the part in it where they go into like, or basically any boilerplate horror movie where there's a tome, there's like some kind of tome. We were making mad jokes about the book that they were showing. It just looked like some random page torn out of some old
some medieval
yeah.
painting book or something that they had. Yeah,
It's, no surprise, nothing to do with goblins. No.
yeah.
But yeah, I was just like they could have had this moment where there's this creepy bit of exposition. It's one of these movies that's just saying it's so bad it's good is trite and cliche, but it's so I would rather say it's so weird that it's intriguing. It's
Right, yeah.
like bad and good don't even operate. Well, they aren't even relevant terms when you got a movie like Goblin. It's
Right,
so
yeah.
weird. Narratively, it makes no sense, and the acting is just so strange. You have characters chewing up scenery, doing things that would be awful and compelling and
Right.
just gut wrenching in any other movie, that you're just unmoved because you're convinced that you're not convinced rather that there's any domestic abuse. He's obviously drinking Evian and not beer. I don't think he's ever been drunk. It's so strange. Like everybody just leans into their role
Right. With
with just
aplomb.
an
It's
with reckless aplomb.
yeah. No, and so I guess we can kind of start near the beginning. So
Right.
we see like that, there's this new family, they're coming into this new neighborhood,
Yep.
and we were trying to figure out at the beginning whose children were who. Because I was under the impression that both these children were theirs, but it's later revealed that Danny Jr. is Danny's child from another, I'm assuming from another marriage. They don't say it outright. And then what's her name? What's her? You got all the names there.
Oh yeah, right, right.
Yeah.
In my handy dandy notes. Let me see here. Let me see. Danny Senior. Who did the woman play? Ashley. That was no. Her name was Sarah in the movie,
Yes,
and her
Sarah.
kid was. I don't know who her kid was.
Sam. Her kid was Sam.
Sam, yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Who is just like the one character not overacting to just an embarrassing degree, but he almost seems like he's just horribly depressed. You can tell the poor kid's going through some horrible existential crisis.
Yeah, and we don't really know what those reasons are. I mean, other than there's some trauma that has happened, again, that is not explained, because later on we see um Sarah in the bath nude. I mean, of
Mhm.
course, that's how you take baths, I think, right? It's been a while
Not
since I
me.
take a
No, I
yeah.
like wearing my three piece.
Yeah, I'm like Arrested Development, the never nude, where I always wear
Yeah.
torn up and ripped jeans, jean shorts. But yeah, she actually, I'm just hoping they paid this woman like a lot of money and just, hey, we want you to get nude in our really low budget film in a bathtub.
I know, and it was very early on in the movie. You could
Yeah,
tell that they wanted to grab what meager audience was there for the getting. I don't know. I'd have to ask her. Maybe
yeah.
maybe she likes it.
Yeah,
Maybe that's her
I
thing.
mean, yeah, that's her thing, that's fine. But that wasn't the most perplexing thing. But it was her. She had a
Somewhat.
scar. She had a scar on her lower part of her body, which was maybe about what, 3 inches,
Yeah,
three
it's
and a
like a
half
3-inch
inches,
scar right up below her belly button.
right below her belly button.
When she first was going for it, I was thinking, oh, it's one of those kind of movies.
I did too. I thought, oh, was she going, for a little action? But yeah, she starts feeling this weird scar that she has, and so that spurned another little. We were going back and forth on what is that scar. At first, I thought it was like a cesarean, but you mentioned that it was a cesarean. A child came out the size of a bird or some
Yeah, I'd be
shit.
a bean like you.
And you're right. I was like, yeah, that's not a cesarean scar, but then I was like, maybe it's an appendix scar, but it's in the wrong place where an appendix would be. So
Yeah, they don't tell us some real important information that would help. They don't spoon feed you the plot. Oh,
yeah,
not that there is one.
right. And then later on, you see them, Danny Senior and Sarah lying in bed, and he wants to get frisky, and then she's still feeling her scar down there, and she goes, "No, I can't, not right now," or something, and and
It's
again,
confounding.
it's just confounding. Like, what happened? Did you get stabbed?
And
And did Danny Senior do it?
is your would-be murderer trying to get it on with you in the bed right now? And she even said, like, "Oh, the doctor said we can't do it right now. We got to wait." And I'm like, I think that the doctor might have some follow-up advice if her domestic partner was the one doing the poking there.
Right, right. Yeah,
Uh,
there's just a lot of backstory with these characters that we just don't know, and they, and it's not like they didn't have the time to do it because again, it's only an hour and 11 minutes. I mean, they could have added a maybe some like 20 minutes more of like some kind of
Flashback.
flashback, a development or something. Again, I'm glad it was as short as it was, but you know,
It can still feel long, like, if you're in the company of somebody that you really don't like, that's just, like, maybe talking over you, obnoxious, bad hygiene.
yeah.
Hour and 10 can feel like a long time. Now, I'm not saying that Goblin was that bad because oddly, I enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
think that I think a big part of that process was watching it with you. If you're going to watch it, I would suggest watching it with friends that like to make some witty cracks at movies. Your riffing style friends. But yeah, it was.
Yeah, no, I agree. This watching this on my own, it would have probably gotten hard. It would have been very difficult for me to get through by myself. So I was glad you could suffer along. We
uh,
suffered along
right,
aside each other. So
right there for you, buddy.
thank you. But yeah, they move into this house. They're the new couple on the block with their children, and there's this weird dynamic between Sarah and Danny Jr. because they're both look relatively the same age.
The whoever did the casting, which I'm sure was the director, was like, "Yeah, fine, that'll work." She's around the age of your older sister, but she's married to your dad, who is also old enough to be your older brother. So that's not confusing. Because
We'll just we'll just add the scar. That'll make her look older.
and just oh my god, you talk about a kid that fresh off the high school play that he probably chewed up scenery in. Danny Jr. is yeah, he's in a there's
Played
not
by
a
Weston Banning, yes.
played by Weston Banning, who this interview shows to be real sweet, like accommodating, guy who really gets why people are watching the movie and
Right.
understands that it's for, not the reasons that were probably
Yeah.
intended.
I'm gonna watch it later, actually. I got it queued up in my YouTube because yeah, I just have to see it.
Oh, yeah, and I wanted to give some props to that to that YouTuber because I think that his video was the one that kind of led me to Goblin. I didn't watch much of it because I didn't want to be too influenced by what he said about it. I wanted
Right,
us
right.
to watch it for ourselves, but he kind of led me to Goblin. But it's so funny. It's almost like everyone in this movie feels the need to kind of like if it was a band play louder than the other guy, like I'll turn my bass amp up so I can because I can't hear it over the lead guitars. Like everyone just acts with all of their might, which is
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
and excuse me. There's all of their might too, and then there's just some weird situations that come up. And one of it is when they first move into they start bringing boxes to the house, and Danny Senior turns on the faucet for the water, and the water just starts coming up like it's a broken faucet.
Yeah, and they
And
find it delightful.
yeah, well, so someone finds it delightful. Let's play it real quick.
Oh yes. Howdy hum.
It's
Stupid lady. Look, all
so
these that that shows you the tenor of most of the movie, really. It's that inexplicable kind of choices
it's
creatively.
yeah, creatively that I remember watching that scene for the first time going just amazed by it because there's a sink blowing up and she doesn't come up and help at all, but just starts splashing in the sink and laughing. And meanwhile, he's getting pissed. And I'm kind of siding with him at the same time. Like, I got water spraying in my face in a brand new home, and that already thinking about I'm gonna have to pay $1,000 for well, maybe not thousand, but a couple of $100 for a plumber to come out and fix this.
Yeah,
You
it'd be
know,
a good hot cave to get that water not spraying everywhere. But yeah, both of their reactions are odd, especially hers.
yeah,
Yeah, but that does definitely. It's right in the beginning of the movie, and that sets the tone for the WTF fest that you're getting ready to watch.
right, and that's the tone that just that's where it took me to what is going on here because it was disturbing to watch for some reason. because I had no idea why she was playing in the water. No normal person would come over. Like if my wife's and I went to go put some boxes down, and I turned the water in our kitchen sink, and it just started spraying up. And she came over and just started splashing me with it and laughing and playing. I'd be like, "What the f are you
It's a
doing?"
torrent of yeah, I would be a torrent of expletives, and it's like, why are you happy about this? This we drove up on fumes. We had to borrow money from your mother. Well, this is not good. Yeah, this is not good news. But like I'm starting to remember more characters the more we talk about it because we got the core family, and they're great. You know, you got overacting dad, overacting abusive drunken dad, who I think just kind of went into this saying, "Oh, acting, how hard could it be?" All those,
Well,
all
I was looking up, that's Joe Cummings, he plays Danny Senior, and, he's got a couple of credits to his name. Most of them it
okay.
looks like as background actor, extras as,
Featured extra, as they call it
features
in the
like
biz.
yeah, yeah, so, doesn't look like he's done a lot other than that, and but, he's got some, experience in the industry, but I think he's about the only one. Yeah, because, but
He's got
not that that's a bad thing, but it's,
oh, it's kind of like he's kind of like maybe the Room cast, like it was full of wannabe actors, but
oh, yeah, yeah, but
but should they be? You know, kind of a component of its charm. So we got him, who's just yeah, just all sorts of intensity, misdirected.
right, yeah, and
And then his son is just a ball of seething, hateful teenage angst,
right.
rage.
Yeah, and, yeah, it's and, they kinda set off the kid immediately, the Danny Jr. as being,
He's like,
just an
what?
asshole.
He's
Yeah,
just yeah,
just an
that level
asshole
of
straight from the beginning. There was nothing redeeming about him. I think with Danny Senior, you kind at least I was having that thought that maybe, you know, he's not acting like a total dick right now, so maybe he's kinda, like, gonna be one of the main people, and he was one of the main actors characters, but, as
maybe
his
we'll learn to like him, but
yeah, yeah, as the story progressed, he just got worse and worse, and
but again, like if you're if you're bothered by scenes of domestic violence, I wouldn't worry too much because it's not convincing. It's
no, it's
it's
not.
it's so weird, but so we're introduced to them, and then in short order we're introduced to these goofy dog catcher type of characters, as animal control people.
Yeah.
uh After this little yappy dog is devoured off camera early in the movie,
Oh,
and these two are oh yeah,
let's take that back just a little bit because I just
sure,
remembered a scene, because Snoopsy disappears at the beginning of the film,
yes, yeah,
and, the overacting from the extras are just, "A Snoopsy!" with all the
yes,
reverb effects and the gallantry that comes along with it, and,
that hooks the audience. That's the
because
sizzle reel right there.
so the family is already they're in the street and they're packing their stuff in the house, and that couple passes by the house and stares at them as they're driving by, and it's like, I thought, "Oh, are these people gonna come back as, potential antagonists?" Or they're looking at the owners of this new home as if it's their fault that their Snoopsy was abducted, or they don't know what happened to it,
Thinking it through too hard,
but
maybe,
it
but
reminded
as
me
it
of,
turns,
like yeah, it reminded me of, like, an Invasion of the Body Snatchers scene where, the body
yeah,
snatchers would just look at you as you pass by, and so it's
it
just
seemed to have that intention. Do you have that clip or?
yeah, yeah, let me, it's right in fact, it's okay, let me see it. Let's watch this in all its, glory here.
God,
I don't know, what was the point?
I mean, that that's some foreshadowing that you never.
No,
Uh,
that never pays off.
yeah, that's somebody flirting with you that has no intention of giving you her number.
Right.
Yeah. No intention. Like for a second you're thinking, okay, maybe people are turning into goblins. Nah, no such thing. By
Right.
the way, it's probably a bad time to mention it, but spoilers. I'm not going to hold back for any of this stuff. If you're worried about us ruining the movie, watch our Patreon first. Definitely watch the Patreon, then watch this, then watch it again, then like it, then watch it again. So
Oh, and go to the YouTube and watch the clips that we made of it. So, yeah, it's all over
yeah.
the place. No, yeah,
So you meet the family, you meet I can't remember. I think that they introduce Elias pretty quick. Elias is kind of the the old guy that knows what's going on archetype that every horror movie has, like the one that's the Ahab character. He's been, I guess, researching and maybe not fighting the goblin, but he's
right.
our source for goblin knowledge. Doesn't really let the audience in on what's going on too much, but he lets you
Well,
know it's bad.
he's the wizened old Gandalf character that comes in and lets you know, who he is and what's going on, and just he was an odd character in himself, Elias. Where we were both confused on what his accent was. We were just concentrating on that so much. I think we figured out that he said he was from Denmark.
Did he? Yeah, I just make him German. I
Yeah,
thought it
we
was
made him
funny.
German the entire time. So uh, you'll hear our tasteless jokes when it came to that when he played there. But It, yeah, so he comes in and introduces himself while they're having such a family friendly dinner,
Yeah,
and he just starts
Kung
off with
Pao.
some weird dialogue about magenta, or I don't know. It was just odd. It was odd
It's
introduction to him.
it's an awkward introduction. And they remain basically convinces Sarah that she needs to take this whole goblin situation seriously, and then
What?
the movie cuts back and forth to more of this poorly done spousal abuse, which is fine with me in the
Right.
context of the goblin, because it would almost throw you off if you had this great performance sandwiched in the
Right.
middle
Yeah.
of this confounding film.
Yeah, we're up to this point. We don't. There's been no goblin activity other than Schnoopsy being attacked, and we assume that that's the goblin eating the dog. Yeah, so they have this awkward dinner, and then Elias shows up, and then they have the awkward dinner again. Not a lot really happens. We just see scenes of them interacting with each other, and she's again she's we mentioned the bathroom scene where she's in the bathtub. We get to see her scar for the first time. That never really comes back. And oh, we get pictures of we get him, Danny Senior, coming in and just taking a leak, like
Yeah. Yeah, there's we get a little peek into we get and as the movie progresses, we get more than a little peek into their domestic relationship. No one seems to like anyone else. The, the mom and dad kind of hate one another. Everybody hates Danny Jr. because he's to be hated. He's a
yeah,
contemptible child. The kid Sam just seems depressed and kind of moody about the whole thing. Pistol's likable, but most dogs are.
yeah. That's
Uh,
Pistol was
and
excellent.
later on they introduced the Scooby-Doo duo of the animal control people that seem to have cop level investigative carte blanche into the whole goblin situation as they sift through giant piles of goblin scat, which is a running it's a recurring theme. I don't want to say it's a recurring joke, because if it's a joke, it kind of falls flat, when it comes to humor and punchline. But yeah, they
Yeah,
just they sift through the scat and they find Snooky's collar, which I guess it wasn't digestible. Very weird movie.
The animal control duo was another thing that perplexed me too. Where, I didn't know if these were cops because they sure as hell were going along the lines that they were cops, and near the end, they start requesting, like, "Can we come in and check your home?" and stuff like that for a dog or
Yeah,
scat
no,
in the
and
living
neither can the
room.
postman. Yeah.
It's like, "No, go away." But
It'd be like if your mailman thought he was a bounty hunter.
"Let me in. We know where the children are."
Yeah, at
Um,
one point they request to look in the backyard, which is I think who was the first Snooksy's the first victim, and then I think that Danny Jr. Which and you see this part in the video, it's or in the trailer rather
yeah.
of this the goblin must have some interesting way of ingesting people because it happens off camera, but there's this comical flailing of limbs, of feet. Like he likes to eat people head first. I guess
Right.
that's
So spoiler, Danny Jr. does get, eaten by the goblin, and is one of those bizarre things. In fact, when we were watching it, I was still looking up something on bears, and then you're like, "Oh, I guess Danny Jr.'s fucked," and I looked up right as I saw these feet flailing in the
and as I recall, you were kind of unmoved, like, oh, okay. And anyway, it says
It says here about bears that they do not eat cats.
in the current movie lexicon, they eat cocaine, and Danny Jr. and Schnoopsy. Yeah, it's such a it's I know we're kind of bouncing around here a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's so odd in the fact that like I said, it's a movie without a plot. Like there's at one point, Sammy goes outside and interacts with the goblin, and the
Yeah.
goblin pets the family dog. And I'm thinking, like, is that dog going to get eaten, or does he just eat small dogs? It's like I don't
Right.
eat. I'm popcorn shrimp guy. I don't eat prawns.
Yeah, I thought I was like I thought for sure because we get the predator vision of the goblin, and
Yeah,
you think, "Oh, well, this kid." I would have been, like, totally surprised if the kid got eaten right then, the little one, Sam, but
yeah.
that wasn't the case.
No, that might have been a moment of shock that kind of pulled you back into the movie. Yeah, it's oh goodness. So really, I don't know. What do we think of Goblin overall?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it in the beginning that we didn't hate it because, there are
I had a good time watching it.
yeah, the thing is that we had a good time watching it, and we can poke fun of it and everything, but, they did something that, we haven't done, which is make a movie, so, I
Well,
mean
if we can get $20,000 together, we can because
yeah.
that's how much they spent. I found out that was the budget was $20,000,
Was it
which
20,000? Okay.
I have trouble believing that. Allegedly, they spent $20,000, which is baffles me because it seems like just animating the goblin, and
Yeah.
according to the actor, the Weston Banning, there was an animatronic puppet that they had on set that they didn't even use that much. You can see his
Oh,
hand in one scene,
okay.
and he said, "I don't know why they didn't use it because looks so much better than what we see on screen." So somebody must have just been learning Maya and was excited.
Yeah. I think, for what they did with the way the goblin looked, because they just kept it in shadow, which is exactly what you need to do in these
Yeah,
situations, because it's gonna be low budget. They knew it's gonna be low budget, so they did keep it in a shadowy kinda area. I mean, you could still tell it was a CGI, creature, but, you know, I've seen worse. I have.
the actual special effects, if you want to call them that, didn't bother me. I mean, like you said, you knew what you're getting into when you watch it. Like when you watch one of those low budget shark movies on
Yeah.
sci-fi, you know what you're getting. I didn't care about that. I just kind of wish they had made him a character in his own movie.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like you said at the beginning, it feels like, he was kinda shoehorned in a little bit, but I think the ending was I mean, so at the end, everyone's eaten. The animal control, I guess, or the cops finally show up at the door and ask if they'd seen Danny Senior and Danny Junior, because they found pieces of him in scat out in the woods or something like
These guys like nothing better than sifting
right.
through foul goblin leavings.
And
Yeah, they find. which it would seem to have turned into some kind of deeper investigation there.
Right.
You know, like the movie is punctuated by poorly acted moments of spousal abuse that they seem, the intention seems to be to make Danny Senior like more and more of the threat, the bad guy.
Right.
But it seems to it's a movie where as soon as a character reaches their maximum level of irritation, the goblin just kind of eats them quickly, just kind
Right.
of quickly ingests them. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like vomiting in reverse the way that he eats people, and then they're gone.
And you know, we were going to the kill count. We know that one of the dog Snoopsy is gone. We
Snoopsy gets
know
it.
Danny Senior and
Danny,
Danny Junior get it.
yeah.
Um,
The-
Elias gets. We see Elias die off screen somehow. He was going to burn
how
the
does
place
he
with a
die?
torch, right?
Yeah, because goblin, and then I think he gets. What happens to him? I
Something
should.
happens. He gets killed off screen. All we see is a burned hand lying on the lawn, and that's the end of Elias. And I have no idea how he died. I mean, maybe I'm missing something here from watching the movie, but
The
there was no
movie
scene of him being attacked, I don't think.
the movie asks you to you know, like infer a lot that they don't tell you. Like the major spoiler, and this is the major spoiler. If you're gonna watch the movie, don't listen to this part yet. But the major twist is that like after the goblin, you know, eats everybody in the family that deserves eating. Elias didn't seem to deserve it, but
No.
he got eaten anyway. Um,
Or
it's
burned up, something happened. We don't know if he got
which
eaten.
is oh, it's costed. We're going to eat way too much into the 20K to burn somebody up. So we'll just the plus the HOA that we're filming in won't allow us to burn stuff in the front yard. But it's like there's a time jump to 9 months later, and you know, it's just we're shown Sarah feeding the goblin and walking over just mountains of poop. Like just clean up after your weird green boyfriend that you got in the shed out back. And she's pregnant, and then it ends. And so but it's still it's vague as hell. It's like, was
Yeah.
she cheating with the goblin? Is that going to be some horrible atrocity that she gives birth to, or did she just get knocked up by
By
Danny
Danny
Senior?
Senior.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I even predicted. I was like, it says 9 months later. I was like, don't tell me she's
Yeah,
pregnant. And then
yeah,
when
that
they
wasn't some random number.
yeah, and then when they pull out, you know, she's of course pregnant. And again, it was like, okay, I didn't even think it might have been the goblins, but but after you said something, I was like, wait a minute, is it the goblins' baby? That would be ultra weird, kind of cool.
Well,
Not gonna
I
lie.
mean, I just this is one of those many times when, and I'm not bragging or anything, but if they had come to me, I could have helped them punch up the script. I'm not saying that the final movie would have been a lot better, but we could have had a love triangle between Sarah and Danny Senior and the Goblin. You know, some kind of indication on why we should care that she's all great with child by the end
Right.
of the movie.
And that begs the question: is there going to be a Goblin 2? Can we expect anything else from these creative output of these people?
I don't know, but they would have to. I've never seen Birdemic 2, but I'm not sure that the film's going to live up to that level of notoriety. I think that
I think a Goblin is a one and done here. Then
maybe I'm kind of I'm going to watch with great interest though the
yeah,
careers of everybody involved.
what's their overarching careers as they age and get into bigger movies? Next thing you know, it's like
Commercials for soda pop and potato chips.
I keep thinking of Embeth Davidtz. She played in Army of Darkness as the love interest who got
Okay.
possessed. But her next movie right after that was Schindler's List, where she played like
Just
one of the major characters in that, and just like that's
talk
what
about a springboard.
right. Try to springboard that. That's what I'm expecting from Goblin here. They better not let me down. I want to see. Weston. I want to see him jump from Goblin and playing some OBGYN
Yeah.
doctor in an abortion movie.
Oh yeah, because
Why would
it's
say
got the edge factor.
right.
It's
It's a very
timely and
right.
relevant. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's I if I had to pick somebody that was probably destined for maybe at least another movie, it would be the lead actor, the woman that played Sarah. I think her name
Yeah.
was something or other. I forget.
Ashley Renee?
Ashley Renee. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hello?
Yep, sorry. She's probably got the most potential when it comes to that.
Yeah, looks like she's got about she got some IMDb credits going too, some shorts and extras in the TV series and stuff. But yeah, there's she's in a movie called The Last House on the Street. Came
yeah.
out in 2021. It's got a 1.8 review system rating on IMDb, so that's probably one we might need to mark down.
Well, what's Goblin have?
Goblin has 4.6.
Oh,
4.2 stars out of 10. So
that's where marketing. That's what marketing will get you right there.
at the end, I think let's go over into some. Is there any trivia? Well, how about some reviews of Goblin on Amazon?
Yeah, that sounds fun.
So we have like 47% of five. It gets 3.4 stars out of 5 on Amazon reviews. It's got 28% of those are 1 stars, but 47% are 5-star reviews. So I'm always interested with movies like this. Who's reviewing these by the 5 stars? It just amazes me sometimes.
I think the pothead community was helpful for the Goblin crew, and I think that they probably, from what I understand, that this had a pretty uh, like it had a pretty big kind of internet buzz around it because the trailer was so silly,
Oh,
and
okay.
that like many, if not all, horror movie trailers, all of the very best parts are just front loaded right into the
Right.
trailer. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had no idea what I was getting into. I think I only saw the trailer like the day before when you showed it to me. I was like, oh yeah, we need to see this. But okay, so here's Marcia from Verified Purchase. She purchased this movie. I The title of it is I hate horror movies. However, this movie was easy to be on the child and wives side. And it was like, I like Joe Cummings acting as an abusive husband and stepfather. It was not scary to me. The movie was written to give the little boy and mom the most power. The ending was a little unexpected, but I actually love the bad guys losing and the innocent ones winning. 5 stars.
Written by Martha Cummings, the wife
Yeah.
of the lead actor.
A lot of people do mention Cummings in here.
He does his best to kind of steal every scene that he's in. Steal, take, pee on.
Yeah. And there's a lot of verified purchases on here too. So these aren't people just reviewing it from Prime. These are people who bought the damn film.
That's always baffling to me. Now, does a verified purchase mean that you've bought Amazon Prime? Because that's where we watched it, right? There, it's on Prime.
Yeah, I think purchase means. Let me see. I can click on it. What Amazon verified purchase means the reviewer bought or used the item on Amazon and paid a price available to most Amazon shoppers. So I think they bought this.
I don't.
I don't know.
That's insane to me.
Yeah, I wonder if I can I wonder if I can write a little review right now.
Yeah, this is a good litmus test.
Yeah, and see if it lists me as a verified purchase. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let's pull this up. We're gonna do this on screen. Let me just go ahead and present. Oh, all right. And then we'll share my screen again. And customer reviews, Goblin. There we go. Okay, here we are. All right, we see buying options right here.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna go to write a review. I'm gonna give it 5 stars.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the least we could do for them at this point.
What a roller coaster ride of amazement and adventure. And then put a lot of exclamation marks. Oh, please enter at most 100 characters. At most. That means I have to probably get rid of some of those. Okay, there we
Yeah.
go. All right. How are we going to write our review for Goblin? Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. The words usually just come out of my fingers when I'm typing.
The words
Yeah.
usually come out of my
Or you could, yeah.
fingers
Let's say the
when
words
typing,
fail me.
but
Words fail me.
words
This was
fail me right now because I have seen. Oh, wait, words fail me right now. I have seen Lawrence of Arabia, Ben Hur, and the greatest story ever told. But Goblin is hands down the best story ever told.
period. Exclamation point.
Yeah, told.
Exclamation point.
Period. Period. Bacon. Yeah, I think that's about it. That's a fair review. I mean, we give
Yeah,
it
I
5
think
stars.
yeah, they're gonna appreciate that.
All right, well, that's Goblin, everyone. Wow, this is our first real episode back in it. I think all our social media accounts are still the same from when we were doing it a couple years ago. But we'll have all that stuff listed, and I guess we can leave with a stinger.
A stinger, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, like coming up next, we're going to review, and I'm really excited about this one. We're going to review Veronica by Glenn Danzig, which that one's very exciting for a lot of reasons, for all the same reasons that Goblin is exciting as a movie, but also it's Glenn friggin' Danzig. I mean, we're
Right.
heavy metal fans. The guy is just hugely influential. So we'll be balancing that one by talking shit, but also, the caveat is that, I still love the guy's music. Don't know that I would like him as a human being all that much, but I can't wait to watch Veronica. That one's going to be fun.
Yeah, the like you said, I have a deep reverence for Danzig and his music, and I've heard odd things about Veronica, so I'm very looking forward to watching it. And yeah, that'll be next up on the list. But before we leave, let me leave you with another great moment from Goblin.
Headphones! Headphones, man!
Jeez Louise.
Good night, everyone. We are Cinematic Suffering.
Can't wait to talk to you again, y'all. Take care.
Later.